Hi everyone! Welcome to my channel, Plant Mama Tatiana, dedicated to all things plants. Today I want to give you a quick tour of my grow light setup with pros and cons on industrial grow light fixtures and answer the question, are plant light fixtures a must for houseplant parents? Here I have two different brands of plant lights, PCCOOLER on the left and Spider Farmer on the right. These are just the two I have. If you're interested, I'll link them in the description, but there are a plethora of lights out there as well. Both are extremely bright, LED, and have the need to be hung up the same way. Spider needs 2 support hooks versus 1 for PC, but they both came with good directions and were relatively easy to set up. The disadvantage was having to get high enough to change the height or even hang them up. I didn't have the space to experiment with these in my NYC apartment, so I'm testing them out in my mom's house where we've been able to rig them to this bar. These two grow lights do have some differences. There's a difference in the wattage and also the difference in the brightness between the two. In terms of energy usage, the Spider Farmer used 95 watts on its full strength, and PC used more power at 152 watts. If energy usage matters to you, you would definitely want to get something that uses less energy. So both lights stay relatively cool. The PC brand is sturdier and it has a heatsink on the back to keep it cool, whereas Spider is cooler in general since it uses less power, so it doesn't need that heatsink. I really liked that Spider came with a dial to control the brightness of the light. Without this, the only way you can control the brightness on these lights is to change the distance you hang it from your plants or to move your plants back and away from the light. If you're going to get a grow light like this, I would definitely recommend getting a dimmable light, such as the Spider Farmer one, which gives you more control. I didn't feel like showing you how to change the brightness, again, because of the height of these lights, and if you have them in your ceiling and not hanging like this, you would really have to clamber up there to control that light and switch it and dim it, which is a disadvantage for sure since there's not a remote, but you do get the point. I have it here at a medium light because I don't need it at its total brightness, but it can get a little bit dimmer than this and a little bit brighter. And due to this, the Spider Farmer light does use less energy when it's at a lower strength, obviously. One thing I have to say is to be very careful about how strong these lights can get. They are very, very intense and very strong. You can see that the intensity of the light and the foot candles actually varies quite dramatically when you just step back a couple of feet or even inches from the light. There is a big difference between the foot candles right up against the light or closer to it versus lower on the floor and away from the light. You'll see that there's a range of foot candles just moving around to different plants in the area. Due to this, I put brighter light loving plants directly under the lights and lower to medium light tolerant plants on the fringes of the light. You want to be careful about this because your leaves can get burnt from the grow lights. So you don't want to burn any of the plants that are a little more sensitive and a little more delicate to that brighter light. I also experimented with starting seeds, growing little seedlings, and rehabbing plants either that were shipped to me or were just not doing that well under the grow light, and that worked really well for me, especially because inside my mom's house tends to have a lot lower light. It's all north facing windows essentially, which is not ideal, and especially in the wintertime there's a lot less sunlight coming into the house. So these grow lights were definitely helpful to have in those rooms that got a lot less light. We usually turn them on sometime in the morning around 9 or 10 a.m. and then shut them off by 4 or 5 p.m. So giving a good chunk of light just depending on the day. I think these lights would be really great for a garage or greenhouse setup, something where there's a lot of space and the ability to hang these up. If you're just starting out with grow lights, I recommend trying a grow light bulb first that you can screw into any light fixture or lamp. Those are really easy to set up and work really well for houseplants. If you want to reduce the number of grow lights you need for your plants, since those bulbs will really only work for a couple of plants at a time, getting a grow light fixture like this is a pretty good bang for your buck, although these are pricier, closer to the $100 range versus a grow light, which will get you around the $20 range, but you would have to get more of those, so you really have to look around based on what your needs are. We use these grow light fixtures for a lot of seed starting, including tomato plants and pepper plants before planting them out in the garden, and that worked really well. These grow light fixtures really did a wonder on our basil plants. They weren't looking too great before with really small leaves, and as soon as it was under the grow light, the leaves started growing like crazy. They were really big and full and just were absolutely delicious. So any type of herb gardening, seed starting, indoor container gardening would be amazing for these grow light fixtures. They were definitely a plus, but not necessary for houseplants, especially because houseplants tend to not need that full sunlight like produce or herbs or other container gardening plants do need. So it's not as necessary if you're just going to be growing houseplants. It can even be a little intense for those houseplants if you're not careful. So, do any of you have these types of plant light fixtures? How do you like them? How do you set them up? Let me know in the comments below. Again, these grow lights will be linked in the description if you would like to check them out. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!